Want to make a cool black and white necklace with me? Hi, welcome back my jewellery making friends. If we're meeting for the first time, my name is Carol, and on this channel we talk about how easy it is to make your own jewellery. So I don't normally wear black at all, and I very seldom wear white, even though I'm wearing white today. But I found these gorgeous black and white beads. They're half black and half white, and they're check glass and faceted, and I just thought I need to make a necklace with those. I've got them in several sizes, so why not? So my necklace turned out to be two necklaces. So today I am going to walk you step by step through the process of making two necklaces, and I will talk about everything you need as well. So let's get started. I've already laid out my necklaces and I've already strung them, but I will show you how to do that just in case you're absolutely new and have never made a necklace before. So I've got my two necklaces here. The first one is a colour blocking necklace. So it's got blocks of black and blocks of white. I used the check glass beads that are in a 12mm, so they're quite large. And I also used some faceted glass rondelles, and I used some glass drucks and smooth round beads, as well as some bicones on this. And I will leave links in the description box below to everything that you will need to make this necklace, as well as this one. So that's my colour block one. And this one, I kind of called it side-by-side necklace because it feels to me like the beads are going, they're side by side. So you've got your black and white beads here, and as you can see, I've got them in the 12mm. I've also got them in an 8mm and a 4mm, so little wee ones there. As well, I have used the rondelles. These ones are 6x8mm. I have used some 8mm glass bicones in black, and also some 6mm acrylic bicones in black. Now there's no reason for me to use acrylic and glass, except that I didn't have any glass bicones in that size. And also I've got some little 4mm ones. They may be 3, I'm not sure. As I said, I'll leave you a link in the description box below. So I am going to now show you how to make this necklace. I'm just going to move this one out of the way. Pop it right over here, and we will start. Now, as well as the beads, you will also need some tiger tail. A tiger tail is a special jewelry making stringing material. If you haven't used it before, it is a very strong wire, but it's also very flexible, so that your necklace will sit nicely. Okay, so I've strung my beads, as I said, and I've put on a bead stopper. Now, a bead stopper is a little spring-like thing that you squeeze open, just like that, and you just pop your wire in, and it holds everything and stops everything falling off. So I had it on both ends. I'm just going to put it back on one so that my beads don't fall off the end. This is a bead design board. And as you can see, it has a channel where you can lay your beads out and design. And it has all these little compartments where you can put all your supplies. And it also has measurements on it. Now this one, the measurements are in centimetres, but you can get them in the inches as well. And so my necklace, I actually want it to be approximately 20 centimetres on either side, so 40cm necklace plus the clasp, which will add about 2 centimetres. So I have laid out my beads just like that, and I haven't got it centered on there, so that's why one side looks longer than the other. So if you're new, what you do is you basically pick up your strand and you feed your beads on once you've laid them out, just like that. There's no trick to it. It's just as easy as threading a bead on a piece of wire. So what I did was I laid my beads out, and I decided that I wanted one of these beads, the black and white ones, in the center, the large ones, and I just decided on how I would go about laying them out on either side. until I got the design that I wanted. I went up only to about 9 centimeters, which takes me up to about just above my collarbones with the large beads, and then I just changed and slowly got smaller and smaller until the beads around the back of my neck were actually just the plain bicones, because nobody really sees the back of your neck unless they're standing behind you, and most people, unlike me, have long hair, and so these beads don't get seen. So I tend to use a cheaper bead at the back. Alright, so I'm going to show you how to put the clasp on so that we can complete this necklace. I'm actually going to use a wire guardian, and that will make sure that the wire doesn't fall off the jump ring. It also protects it. So this is what a wire guardian looks like. And it's a little curve, and it has a little tube on either side, but the part that goes around the back is only half of the tube. Before I put on my wire guardian, I need to put on a crimp bead. So a crimp bead, basically what it does is it stops everything, it crimps everything, it holds everything nice and firm so that nothing falls off. And I have a couple of little 2mm ones here. I'm just going to feed on one of those, just like that. And now I'm going to put on the wire guardian, and I'm going to feed up from one end of the bottom of the wire guardian, and I'm going to go back down through the other side like that, and I'm going to pull it down, but I don't want to pull it tight yet. So what I'm going to do is pull it down towards my crimp bead, whoops, and then just pull the tiger tail nice and tight like that. That's what I have now. Then what I need to do is I'm going to put my jump ring on. Now the jump ring is the part that the clasps will do up into. So, you know, you have your clasp on one side and jump ring on the other. So I'm going to feed that one onto the tiger tail, and it's going to go up, and I want it to sit inside that wire guardian. Just like that. Now the other thing I need to do is feed the end of my tiger tail back down through the crimp bead, and I'm going to go through one of my beads as well, actually two of my beads. Now the reason I do that is because I like to have my tails tucked down inside a bead rather than sitting higher. Now everything's moving around, but that's okay. What we're aiming for is that. What I need to do next is crimp. Now I'm using a magical crimping tube. Now a magical crimping tube, when you crimp it with your magical crimping pliers, which I have in my hand, it creates a little bead like crimp. So I'm going to squeeze my crimp bead, and then I'm going to turn it around and squeeze again until everything's nice and tight and it looks like a little metal bead. I'm using black crimp beads, by the way. Hopefully you can see that. And I'm just going to give my little wire guardian a little squeeze with my fingers, just a little bit closer together. Now what you need to do is trim off the end of your tiger tail. So taking your flush cutters and just come in nice and close to that bead there and snip it off. So that's what it looks like now. Now I need to run all the beads up because I've managed to get a gap, but that's fine. I might move this out of the way so you can see a little bit better. Alright, so now I need to put the clasp on. What I'm going to do is take off my bead stopper and thread on my crimp bead just like before. And I'm going to pop on my wire guardian. So go up and back down through. Just like that. And now before I do anything else, what I want to do is attach my jump ring. I've got a 4mm jump ring here. I used a 6mm for the other end, and I'm going to open my jump ring and I'm going to attach my clasp. Now, as you can see, I'm using black jump rings and a black clasp as well. I thought that worked better with the black beads. So just taking 2 pairs of pliers and opening my jump ring. If you haven't used jump rings before, I will leave you a link in the description box and a card up the top here for everything that you need to know about jump rings. So just opening the jump ring, popping on the clasp and closing it. Now I don't need to use a jump ring here, but I feel that it works better. And I just want to make sure it is really well closed, which it's not. So, and just, right, double checking. Now what I'm going to do, so that's what I have. Now what I'm going to do is thread that onto my necklace. So just onto the tiger tail and right up through that wire guardian. Now to get my wire guardian down this time, I'm actually going to move it down and hold the tiger tail just so that I can pull everything up nice and tightly. And I need to, of course, go back down through my crimp bead and a couple of beads. Pulling everything down so it's nice and tight. Once again, just giving that wire guardian a little squeeze together. And then I'm going to take my magical crimping pliers and crimp that bead again. So I've already checked that I have no spaces in my necklace. Sometimes it takes a few tries to get your crimp bead nice and tight. So that's what I have now, and what I'm going to do next is just trim off the end of that tiger tail. Getting in nice and close. Okay. So there's my necklace done. I really love the way it goes from the black to the white and then back to the black again. I just love it. So here's necklace number 2. Now I'm going to put the clasp on just in the same way I did before, but while I'm doing that, I thought I'd talk to you a little bit about why I designed this necklace this way. So while I'm threading on my crimp beads and my wire guardians, etc., I will have a chat about that. And I'm going to move the bead board so you can see it better. Okay, so when I design a necklace, there's a few things I want to keep in mind. I like to mix up colours and textures. Now obviously this is a black and white colour blocked necklace, so there's not a lot of colour going on. But what I really needed to do to make it interesting is mix up the textures, because if I'd used all faceted beads or all smooth beads, it would have been it wouldn't have been boring, but it wouldn't have been so interesting. And I think the key to an interesting necklace or any piece of jewellery is to have different textures and different value in terms of the color contrast. So this one obviously is high contrast because it's black and white. You can't get much higher contrast than that, but it also has a lot of different textures. And I decided to do a color block because the beads kind of lent themselves to that with the half-half. Initially I thought, should I do all white on one side and all black on the other? But then I decided that it really didn't work as well that way, so I went ahead and mixed it up on either side with just blocks of the black and blocks of the white. Alright, now I'm going to trim off my excess tiger tail, and I'm going to crimp the other end just like I did with the other one. Now the other thing I wanted to talk to you was the shape of beads. So I've talked about the texture of the beads, and I also wanted to talk to you about the shape of the beads, because as you can see I've used different shapes here as well. So I wanted to use, obviously the check glass beads, the black and white ones, are a round bead, but I wanted to make sure that I didn't just have the round beads. So if I had used just these beads and the smooth ones, then it would have been all round beads, and I really didn't want to do that, because once again adding different shapes of beads also adds interest. So I chose to use some rondelles, which are bigger in one direction than the other, so they're more kind of like a round bead that someone sat on, and that's these ones here. And I also chose to use some round beads, and I chose to use some bicones, which are these ones. So as you can see, I added a little bit of different texture there as well, and it all just adds interest. Alright, there's necklace number 2, all nicely colour blocked with its different textures and its different shaped beads. And there's number 1. Now the other thing I didn't talk to you about was the fact that I have used one of these beads as a central focus on each necklace. So I started off with a big one with one of these, and then I designed my necklace on either side of the focal bead from there. So that's it. There is my 2 necklaces. And as you can see, one turned out slightly longer than the other, so that's okay though. You could actually wear these necklaces together if you wanted to, or obviously as singles as well. Which one do you like best? Let me know in the comments section below, because honestly I couldn't decide, which is why I made both of them. Now if you enjoyed this video, it would be really cool if you would subscribe, like the video, ring the bell so that you'll know every time I upload a new video, and that way you'll never miss a thing. Also check us out on Facebook and Instagram. If you're keen to see more of my videos, and in particular the tutorial for the necklace that I'm wearing today, I will leave you a link in the description box below, as well as a card up the top. Also check out my other tutorials. I have done heaps of necklace tutorials, and some about how to design your own necklace as well, and more about shape, texture and all of those things. So check those out. Thank you so much for watching today. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you again soon.